Yeah, we haven't done one of these in a while, but here we are.
My work schedule's been crazy lately, so.
And doing another roundtable. This time I think we're going to be discussing little nitpicks we have with movies lately, like policies and just stuff they do that bugs us.
Yeah, these are things that aren't like terrible, like complete loss of, what would you call it, like cinematic language or like giant plot holes or just the dumb little things that drive us insane.
Okay, who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
So this one actually kind of came up when I was watching Black Panther. And oh man, I had the language that's the Wakandan language. So you know, they get T'Challa speaking to his sister, and I don't remember any of their names, so sorry for that, because honestly the movie was okay. I don't remember her. But he's speaking to her in English, and I'm like, okay, it's just basically sub or dubbed. You know, they're speaking their native language, and it's just dubbed. Then he goes to the spirit world and is speaking to T'Chaka in the native language with subtitles. I'm like, so was T'Challa and his sister speaking English within their home country? That doesn't make sense. And then in mid conversation, T'Challa and T'Chaka switched to English, and it's like, I can accept that was dubbed, but when you do this back and forth, it means they are now speaking English for no reason other than the creative team did not want to have to hammer out subtitles anymore. I could have just been speaking English the entire time, and I would have at least accepted that, oh, we're just getting a subtitled version.
Yeah, I hate that jumping around.
And it doesn't make any sense.
It happened a lot in Lord of the Rings.
That too.
Between the Elvish and the English.
That
and they couldn't decide if they were going to do that, what they were going to stick with.
Just pick one or the other. I can accept either one, but both means that they are now speaking English for no reason.
See, one of my personal favorite ways to do it, I forget what movie it was, probably several, but it had the people speaking, someone else who was an outside source turned to someone else who was an outside source and said, "Did you get any of that?" The other one said, "Not a word."
Yeah.
See, I don't even mind. Yeah, I don't mind stuff like that. It's just I don't understand why we have to go back and forth. But then the same conversation of there's no T'Challa and T'Chaka would be speaking their native language. There's no reason for either of them to be speaking English in that. T'Challa is speaking to Steve Rogers. Makes sense. He would be speaking in English because Steve Rogers is American and he don't have time to learn them fancy Africano languages.
It's likely he doesn't know.
It's likely he doesn't know, but
Wakanda stands there, I'm pretty sure some of their neighbors don't know.
well, the language they speak is an actual in the movie they speak is an actual African language from that general area it's supposed to be, which I commend them for doing. That's really good, and that shows a lot of research, but the English was pointless.
But if that's it, I've got the next one. I'm bothered by musical numbers in non-musicals and are not for comedic effect. Yeah, it's dumb things like just a random out of nowhere musical number. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it just bothers me. It's just, you were never singing at any other time, and it's not just a musical number, it's the musical style musical number.
Where
it's
like
all
extras get involved.
And everyone's suddenly dancing as well, and also they're like speak singing. You know how they do in musicals? When you have a movie that hadn't done this before, doesn't do it after, but they suddenly do that at this moment. Why? And it's like, it's a little stupid thing that bothers me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Good point.
I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but I mean, I'm sure it happens.
Yes.
I think one of my nitpicks is there's no more true G movies. Even the most kid-friendly of movies has like someone dropping an F-bomb every so often just so they can have a PG rating.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with marketing.
I know, but still.
No, you're right, it is dumb.
Yeah, but I've noticed that too.
They push the envelope a little bit.
But it's kind of weird
Secretly.
because I think some PG movies could be rated G. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, The Incredibles was PG, right? And I don't think it warranted a full PG rating. Maybe like a red line G, which sounds weird.
Incredibles 2 was pushing it a little bit. I would have definitely had that one PG.
I didn't see all of Incredibles 2.
But 1? I think 1.
I can't think of anything in Incredibles 1 that would really warrant it.
There were a bunch of skeletons and implied death.
You're right, that is...
Okay,
I
good
forgot,
point,
I forgot
Yeah.
about the skeletons. You're right about that.
But that sort of thing does happen, though. Where there are movies that should be G, or movies that are rated G and totally aren't.
And I want to piggyback on this. If you want to win an Oscar, you rate your movie R.
Mm-hmm.
So you have movies that don't warrant an R rating that they purposely put in random cuss words because they're making a Oscar push.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you didn't need to put that language in there. It's unnatural, but you just needed that R rating in order to get that Oscar push.
I'd say if I was a director, I'd be far more concerned with making money than winning an Oscar, but I understand...
Yeah, but if you're a director who's already made all that money...
I understand if you have an Oscar, you have a better chance of being able to make that money. It's,
And also, if you have an Oscar, you have a better chance of making the movie you want to make instead of the movie the studio wants you to make.
Yeah, you're less tied because...
It gives you more creative freedom.
Which can be a good thing, but also can be a bad thing.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, look at all the creative freedom Tarantino has, and you could argue all day if that's a good thing or not.
Then on the other hand, Spielberg.
Yeah.
He has all the freedom now, and he makes decent movies. I mean, has for years.
Spielberg, even though he makes the movies he basically want to make, he is still very much a company movie maker.
He is.
He makes movies that are studio movies, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
But
I was just giving the counterpoint to Tarantino, where
Yeah.
there's good with the bad.
oh yeah, but I personally enjoy Tarantino's movies, but I understand why some people don't. I can get why people aren't Tarantino fans.
And at times he's not a market draw. Well, he is, but maybe not gigantically.
Mostly the market for him just comes from he doesn't spend $700 million on Infinity War.
That's true. He saves money by having a smaller budget,
That has a lot to do with it.
which is why I always
It's the
wanted.
genre picture mindset of.
That's why I always wanted to go to Hollywood and become Alan Smithy,
Yeah.
the guy who would make any movie for cheap with the interest of just making money.
Well, that's
Because I spend so cheaply that two people go and see the movie, I've made a profit.
That's Stroma's business mindset.
Yes.
I make a movie for $50, but if I sell 5 of these for $10, I've made my
already
money
made
back.
Yeah.
Then you have the other ones who want their movie to flop, because in Germany, if you flop, you can make money somehow.
They will.
Oh, V-ball stuff.
Oh boy.
You got one, Dale?
I knew you had it in the past, we discussed it, but I think maybe you forgot.
Well, I had they are nitpicks, but they could also be full-blown discussions here.
Well,
Like, have you ever seen movies or TV or something where they take the character and when it's convenient, they give them a new power or something they never had before?
and then they never use it again?
Right.
I believe we call it the
As-
ass pole.
Yeah, as soon as they don't need it anymore, it vanishes and
It
it's
is
never even referenced again.
Never mentioned again.
That was something very bad that happened in science fiction TV shows in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, the example I think of for some reason when I think of that, because he's so big, Godzilla.
Yeah.
The very first Mechagodzilla movie. He defeated him by using these magnetic powers he never had before.
Created this magnetic field that
Yeah.
took the
And
needle darts.
It never happened again.
Yeah, after he destroyed him, no matter how many times Mechagodzilla came back, Godzilla never used that again.
I actually remember how often like you would see in old cartoons, the character would push a button and just the car or the mech or whatever would just do whatever, and it was always the same button.
I know.
Which is why I had such respect for Speed Racer, because his buttons were mapped out, and when he hit the button, it did the same thing every time he hit said button.
And that was way in the past when they made
Unless they
Speed Racer.
explicitly changed it.
Yes, it was like one episode where it was part of the plot was they added like
Yeah.
the hydraulic lifts that would let him jump.
And the original Speed Racer was made in an era where they definitely didn't do that
Yeah.
normally. Okay, well, you got another one?
I got another one.
Because we're psyched.
This has less to do with movies and more to do with fandoms. And I was actually the horror sage, my friend who comments on these videos. We were talking about how much we hate watching horror movies with other people, because the more people you get, the more likely you get one of these jackass alpha males. I would have just punched Leatherface in the. I'm like, shut up! Just he would have killed. No, and you know these are the same guys who, if there were gunshots down the road, would curl in the ball and cry. But boy, howdy, they got to say what they would have done if Michael Myers busted in the house. Yeah, can I just enjoy Friday 13th? Can I enjoy watching Saw without you telling me how you would have beaten the trap? Because you don't know. You weren't in that situation. You weren't panicked. Just shut your mouth. Look, I don't need to think you're a tough guy. Okay, just if you don't want to be scared of horror movies, don't watch horror movies. Don't be like, I'm a horror movie fan, and then have to sit there and pick apart every stupid. Oh, why didn't this happen? What? Because they were panicked. That's why. And yet the same goes for like Infinity War, like where Star-Lord smashed Thanos in the face. Because
Which woke him up.
Which
Yeah.
woke him up because of Gamora's death.
Boy, you're that idiot.
I wouldn't. I'm like, how do you know? You've never been in a situation where you were face to face with your girlfriend's killer, and even though the could have been bad, you don't know if you would have been blinded by that rage. Don't sit there in an armchair tell me what you would have done in that situation. You're not in that situation.
Also, I'd imagine when you're watching a horror movie, you'd want less people because of the instinctual safety in numbers thing. It'd take you more out of the mood if the larger the group you've got.
And I guess there is some of that element, but I can watch a horror movie with 3 or 4 people and still enjoy it. But if I'm with one other person who feels the need to wave their metaphorical wang around and talk about how tough they are, okay, you just ruined you obviously don't like these kinds of movies. You know, watch something like Death Proof or Death Sentence where a guy's just mowing down people with a shotgun. That's obviously what you want. Let me have a movie that's built on atmosphere and terror, because I'm not going to sit there. Okay, that's not entirely true, because I will tell you why some of the physics, but if you were just like, just let me enjoy the movie, except my wife, I will happily ruin movies for her, just because that's what lovers do.
She's flipping him off on camera.
Yeah, she is. Alright, anybody else got one?
I mean, I have another one, but I'm waiting to see if anybody else has any.
You go ahead.
Well, based on what he said, sometimes I have wondered what some of those villains would do if they come at you and you just stand there and smack them when they get in range.
Well, I mean, at the end of the first Halloween, Loomis shot Michael Myers 5 times and he fell out a 2nd-story window, and his reaction was to get up and walk away. So if you punched him, he would probably just stab you. I mean, what kind of abuse has Jason Voorhees and even Leatherface gone through? And then, you know, good luck getting face to face with John Kramer from Saw, as he always had his puppet do his work for him.
And Freddy Krueger exists in your mind.
Yeah, Freddy
so-
Krueger is just magic. He is just magic.
People have
No,
blown
you know
him
what?
up. He's fine.
Forget it, you know. Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees are just magic. They're not operating in reality.
I mean, yeah, Jason's like a super zombie.
I mean, even if you get some of the human killers, like the killer in Black Christmas, they're operating in a heightened reality. They're not operating in the reality that exists in our world, you know. I mean, John Kramer's human, but he's not human. The dude's smarter than Lex Luthor.
Yeah. Well, the other one I have, I saved this one for last, even though I had it higher on the top of my list. It started with Marvel, but and it's now become this beast that cannot be fed, as almost every movie does it now, and it's been ruining my movie experience. Stingers. I used to like after mid to end credit stingers when Marvel was like doing them. But now almost every movie, whether they need to do it or not, does them. And it keeps... So I used to watch through credits all the time. Just sit there and wait for the movie to actually end at the end of the credits. And by then, everybody would have cleared out.
Yeah.
The parking lobby and parking lot is free. We can just go. But now...
We don't have to fight through a crowd to use the bathroom.
Yeah, because there is a reputation for stingers now, everybody stays, and these idiots stand around and they talk and all this other stuff. I can't decompress after the movie because you're still here.
And even if it's a movie you know isn't going to have any.
People stay anyway.
But they do. Even if it's a movie you know isn't going to have any, they
Because
still do.
because they're like, oh, on the off chance it will. I've heard people say that.
They're conditioned now. And most of the time these stingers aren't even worth it.
Well, here's the thing about these stingers is, okay, it used to be you would stay to the end of the movie and you'd get a cute little joke. Like, the first Stinger was a movie from, like, the 30s or 40s. And it was literally a character we had thought had died, looks at the camera. And it's the cute little nod to the audience. Now, they're part of the plot. It's like...
I mean, Marvel was doing it like a next issue kind of thing, almost.
Yeah.
Which was kind of fun.
It was fun for a while.
But
it's old now.
It caused something. Yeah, so now everybody does it.
And it kind of should have just ended with Phase 1, honestly. But like now it's like they're like the Ant-Man and the Wasp, where it's like this is the ending that will rock your world.
Not really.
No.
They
But it's not even about the movie. It's about the movie before.
You won't believe
Or the
this
movie
ending.
that's coming after.
Which would have been Infinity Wars.
It's like you won't believe this ending. It's like I called that going in, before it went on.
The Horse Age comment at the end. Let's not rock your world. It's the ending that will rock band your world. Because it was actually the ant playing drums. That was the real. But it is insane to me. Like they're a plot now. They're not a joke. Like the one at the end of the Avengers where they're eating shawarma, which as much as I'll trash talk the Avengers, I do think that was one of the better stingers. Because it was just a joke. You're like, they're eating shawarma now. That was a cute little callback. But like, you have to see the stingers when they're not directly contradicted by the next movie.
Yeah.
Like the ending of Homecoming, where Aunt May's like, "What the?" Because she sees Spider-Man's costume. Infinity War.
Did that go anywhere?
No. There's just no. It's something extremely interesting that they could have made into a big deal now. No, just he's Spider-Man still. There's no confiscation. Aunt May's not keeping better tabs on him.
It doesn't even seem like she knew.
No, she wasn't in the movie at all.
Right.
I just completely forget about Aunt May's character. But no, we gotta have that 5-minute scene where Tony Stark's like, hey, Pepper Potts, here we go, we're gonna have a baby. We're gonna have a baby, Pepper Potts. There we go, baby, we're gonna have a baby. Baby. I was looking at Josh. My wife off camera then, stop looking at me. I was actually looking at Josh. I'd rather have a lazy eye. But no, yeah, so, oh shoot, stingers.
Yeah.
Just plot now, it's important to watch the stingers. I don't want you to make me watch through the credits. I don't want the gun held to my head. I want to watch the credits because I like to make fun of people's names and wow, I'm a terrible person.
Yeah.
I always just had the belief of if I'm going to watch a movie, if I pay to watch a movie, I'm going to see all of it. Also, you know, honoring these people who worked hard on this movie
Yeah.
by seeing their darn name.
Making fun of their names.
Yeah, well, some of them have some really cool names,
Yeah.
or really dumb names, or names.
Really
They have
strange,
names.
just really strange names.
Half the time I don't know what's funnier, watching the credits roll in a regular movie or watching the credits roll when it's a Patreon username.
Oh yeah, you see Patreon backers in the credits.
Yeah.
No,
I go on Mills Watch. I'm like, are there any Millses in this credit? There's actually one. What do you know? Well, if anybody has anything else, if not, then we
Nothing I can think of.
Okay, well, your kids are crying, so we're just gonna wrap it up.
I guess.
So-